the storage ring right before it makes contact. Though, the girl falls unconscious from the shock anyways. Flustered and embarrassed, the martial warrior announces that they are going now and stomps out. Examining the supposedly worthless jade pendant, Yu Xiao notes that it's actually a 5-colored divine stone. Suddenly, he orders the person lurking in the shadows to show themselves. Complying with the command, Jia Rong appears before Yu Xiao. Despite witnessing the entire scene, he doesn't have the slightest clue as to how the boy was able to defeat Lan Fei. Originally, Jia Rong planned on sneaking up on Yu Xiao to force the detoxification method out of him. However, the earlier battle has left him completely unconfident in his mid-tier warrior capabilities in beating the former 9th-tier refiner. At least due to self-aware, upon Yu Xiao's query, Jia Rong reveals that he has only managed to gather 6 batches of the recipe despite his best efforts. Taking them from the man, the boy orders him to heal Chun Jun and Hun Bai before anything. "Who do you think I am?" questions Jia Rong, protesting being ordered around like that. Though, when Yu Xiao tells him to scram if he isn't happy with it, the rank 1 alchemist is left with no choice but to comply. After healing the boy's friends, Jia Rong demands to be given the detoxification method, declaring that he will never be ordered around again. "Don't be so sure about that," snarks Yu Xiao, remarking that countless people have begged to be commanded by him and were rejected. He bets that soon, Jia Rong will be more than happy to listen to him. Jia Rong exclaims that Yu Xiao is lying, only to be told that there's no reason to lie to a mere rank 1 alchemist like him. Suddenly, the latter hurls a piece of paper at the former with immense strength, making him work just to catch it. Though the effort is worth it, as Jia Rong finds the prescription to be absolutely incredible. Realizing that Yu Xiao was telling the truth all along, the man finds his eccentric behavior is completely unreadable, having gotten what he came here for. Jia Rong announces that they are now even and begins to head out, not willing to die for payback against the humiliation he suffered before. First smart character ever. Suddenly, Yu Xiao remarks that even though the prescription will cure the bodily damage, the deterioration of Jia Rong's soul power during that period will make it impossible for him to reach the level of a rank 1 alchemist again in this lifetime. Though, the former 9th-tier refiner just so happens to know of a way to make Jia Rong a real rank 1 alchemist within 50 days instead of 50 years. Unable to believe this absurd statement, the man shouts out, "You can't fool me." Condescendingly looking down on Jia Rong, Yu Xiao proclaims that it isn't worth his time to fool someone like him. This makes the former settle down, and he notes that the latter's words are too tempting to be ignored, even if they are too suspicious. Apologizing for his outburst, Jia Rong questions if such a way is really out there, and if so, what would he have to do for Yu Xiao to help him? "Be my servant," declares the boy, instantly getting his preposterous demand shut down. However, Yu Xiao is of the view that Jia Rong is the one not qualified to be his servant, so he will give the privilege of serving him for only 50 days. Jia Rong realizes that the former 9th-tier refiner is being completely sincere with this sentiment, as if his words were an unquestionable truth. With his mind all jumbled up, the man tries to make sense of the situation. Suddenly, Yu Xiao questions, "Do you feel aggrieved to be my servant?" Before Jia Rong can answer, the boy glares at him, exerting such a powerful and crushing pressure that he falls to his knees. Dude really unleashed his conqueror's haki. "Just who is this brat?" wonders the alchemist. Terrified from the soul-crushing pressure, he understands that Yu Xiao could disintegrate him at any time if he wanted to. The latter then gives the former 3 breaths time to either accept his offer or reject it. Realizing that there's a chance for him to rise to the top by listening to Yu Xiao, Jia Rong doesn't want to regret this moment for the rest of his life by rejecting this offer. And so, he accepts the privilege of being his servant. "Not bad, you were quite decisive," remarks Yu Xiao, announcing that Jia Rong will realize later that this was the correct choice. The former 9th-tier refiner then gives the man some cultivation instructions, announcing that if he can't advance to a rank 1 alchemist within 5 days even after following them, then he lacks the aptitude to be his servant. Examining the instructions, Jia Rong is baffled to see the soul cultivation art in them. Though, Yu Xiao is unconcerned as it's the trashiest of all the soul cultivation techniques. Telling the alchemist to call him Young Master Yun from now on, the boy promises not to be stingy when rewarding him if he behaves well. Given the permission to leave, Jia Rong bows before his new master and heads out. On his way back, the alchemist is extremely careful to hide the instructions, still unable to believe that he got his hands on a technique of legends. Jia Rong concludes that the reason he was trembling before an ordinary child was because of the legendary soul dementing technique, considering that he gave him the precious soul cultivation technique as if it were nothing. To repay this generosity, Jia Rong wouldn't consider it a loss even if Yun Xiao made him his slave for several years. Though, he does still wonder just who exactly is young Master Yun. Yun Xiao cultivates at night, lamenting that his soul power was inferior to a mere rank 1 alchemist after being reborn. To frighten Jia Rong, he used the soul dementing technique, losing much of his remaining soul power as a result. Thinking that becoming the strongest in this generation will just be a matter of time, Yun Xiao doesn't want to stop there. He wants to become an existence surpassing even his previous life, breaking through into the realm of legends. To that end, Yun Xiao is relying on a soul cultivation technique that he, Gu Feiyang, had discovered in the Tiandong Mountains before his death. Divine Soul Expansion Technique, it's an unheard of technique with a method beyond anyone's imagination. Yun Xiao thinks that it's linked to his rebirth, since the voice in his mind was reciting the text of this divine technique when he regained his past life's memories. With its successful practice, the former 9th-tier refiner's soul power will recover at a terrifying speed. The plot armor getting thicker than Lizzo at this rate. On the Ti and Mu continents, the cultivators are basically divided into two types. The martial cultivations specialize in the cultivation of Qi, with a few specializing in cultivating their bodies, becoming the so-called ordinary martial warriors. On the other hand, the alchemy cultivators specialize in cultivation of the soul. Spirit, Qi, soul. If either one is trained to a certain existence, a person can become an existence capable of shaking an entire continent. Though Li Yun Xiao knew the importance of the link between the three, having previously reached the status of a martial king by cultivating both his qi and soul. The other martial kings were the same, becoming far stronger than anyone else by cultivating 2 of the 3 to the peak. However, Gu Feiyang realized that his physical body prevented him from breaking through upon being trapped at the pinnacle of the 9 Heavens realm, driving him to obtain the Tyrant Body Tempering Technique. After all, it is only when one's body, qi, and spirit are all at their peak that one can attempt to break through to the legendary 10 Worlds realm. We got Sir Yaps a lot over here. With his soul power recovering quickly, Yun Xiao vows to break through to the 10 Worlds divine realm in this life and become invincible. But first, he will use the 5-color divine stone he got from Lan Fei to craft the 13 divine needles and arouse the body's potential, allowing him to unclog his meridians. Afterwards, Yun Xiao arrives at his storage room filled with decent materials, provided by his competent new servant, Jia Rong. Soul power and fold, shouts out the boy, using his past experience as a top-ranking alchemist and his soul power to masterfully forge the divine needles. Inserting them into his body, Yun Xiao manages to unclog 5 of his meridians. Albeit a bit disappointed, the former 9th-tier refiner knows that the 5-color divine stone is extremely effective at arousing the body's potential, now wanting to find a way to obtain the other 4 jade pendants from the Wan family. Later, Chunjun and Hunbai arrive, mistaking the green residue in Yun Xiao's skin from the medicine as Lan Fei poisoning him. What do you mean he isn't the Hulk? Clearing up the misunderstanding, the boy informs the two of everything that happened when they were unconscious, leaving them in complete and utter disbelief. Haha, I knew it, remarks Chunjun, expressing that there's no way that General Fei Long's son could have been a loser anyways. He gets excited that once the 3 of them graduate, they will inherit their family's titles of nobility and assemble an army to destroy the Lan family's brats. Though, Hunbai worries about the dangers that Yun Xiao's newfound strength and recent actions will bring in the future. Despite this, Chunjun is convinced that Lan Fei and his lackeys won't be able to do anything, given that they can't call for outside help. After all, there are only 2 people who have reached the 5 elements realms to become martial kings in the country of Tian Shuai. One of them is none other than Jialan Academy's headmaster himself, Zhang Lishan. As he is considered to be the strongest man in the entire country, even the emperor himself wouldn't be able to cause trouble within the academy. Right then, Hunbai questions if Chunjun has forgotten about the man who's ranked 3rd in the academy's mini Fengyun ranking, the Lan family's other descendant and Lan Fei's half-brother, Lan Suan. While the 2 friends tremble at this thought, Yu Xiao is unconcerned. He doesn't deem the academy's ranking to be even worth mentioning, given that he was ranked 3rd in the entire continent's Fengyun ranking back in the day. My guy just wants to flex. Hun Bai then reveals that Lan Yuan is an 18-year-old genius martial master who is already about to break through to the Two Forces realm, noting that he might become a deputy commander of the Guardians at the rate he's progressing. Since Lan Xuan will be graduating this year, Chun Jun and Hun Bai pray that they stay and are able to survive until then, hoping that he won't trouble himself with small fry such as themselves. However, Yun Xiao tells them not to worry about that, since Lan Xuan will definitely come find him. Though, if he doesn't, the boy will go find him instead. His friends beg him not to make this situation worse, but Yun Xiao simply can't wait to get his hands on the martial warrior's 5-color divine stone. Lan Fei goes running to his uncle Wang Feng, who was a teacher at Jia Lan Academy, begging for Yun Xiao to be taught a lesson. However, Wang Feng tells him to shut up since he was the one who caused the problem, not wanting to ruin the many years that Lan Fei's mother has put into educating Lan Xuan. Despite this, the brat insists that he just wants to vent his frustration by having his brother teach that trash a lesson. Hearing this, Wang Feng declares Lan Fei to be an idiot. After all, the trash of the Li family is a nobody, meaning that his greatest enemy is Lan Xuan himself. If the latter learns that his brother lost the token passed down in the Lan family to such trash, he will have the clan discipline him. Wish someone disciplined me. Pause. In the worst case scenario, Lan Fei could lose his status as a direct descendant and become second in line. Then what do I do? Questions the pathetic boy, begging his uncle for help. Telling him not to worry as he is the son of his dear sister, Wang Feng promises to help him by applying to be the chief assessor in the yearly examination that is coming up in 7 days. There, if Yun Xiao is unable to display the light that shines from open meridians, he will have the right to expel him according to the school rules. Wang Feng will then recover the jade pendant, after which Lan Fei can do whatever he wants with the Li family's trash. I have to wait another 7 days, complains the spoiled brat, not wanting to wait to get his hands on Yun Xia. Blood is more annoying than Big Mom. Suddenly, Wang Feng snarks, questioning how he can count on Lan Fei to do something more important if he can't even put up with this, remarking that there's a big difference between Lan Fei and Lan Xuan. The man expresses worry for his sister. Hearing this, the brat decides to listen to his uncle. However, he wants to ruin Yun Xiao's reputation in these 7 days instead and hopes that Wang Feng will cooperate. As Lan Fei reveals his plan, the uncle starts laughing maniacally and gives him the go-ahead. "You really are my sister's son. I looked down on you just now," shouts out Wang Feng. Sometime later, Yun Xiao gets his divine soul expansion technique disrupted by some ruckus. Using Universal Detect, he spots a couple silhouettes. Wondering if they are thieves, Yun Xiao opens a door, only to be greeted with a love letter from Luo Lan Duo. As he confidently heads out to meet her in the autumn forest, a couple of Lan Fei's lackeys leave something inside his dorm. Unbeknownst to them, Yun Xiao observes the entire scene from nearby. Returning his room, he finds an assortment of women's undergarments lying on his bed. "Ayo, where did bras get them? Lan Fei. Oh, Lan Fei," mutters Yun Xiao, announcing that he will also play dirty if that's how they are doing things now. Later, the boy arrives at the autumn forest. Being one of the training grounds at day, it becomes a great meetup spot for crazed teenagers at night. Suddenly, a blonde girl comes running to Yun Xiao for help, getting chased by a perverted boy. However, the former 9th-tier refiner instead points his heavy sword at her neck. "Sus, senior," mutters the girl, getting told not to move if she doesn't want to die. Bursting into tears, the maiden promises to do anything if Yun Xiao just helps her. Right then, the pervert catches up to the girl and grabs her shoulders. Telling the reincarnated soul to get lost, the creep pushes the helpless maiden on ground. She repeatedly lets out cries for help, but Yun Xiao doesn't move. Suddenly, he starts unbuttoning his shirt and remarks, "Don't worry, babe, I will save you soon." Smacking the pervert away, the girl runs towards Yun Xiao. Enraged, the former boasts about being Liu Yitian, the son of the Imperial Guard Commander, Liu Siqi. Stopping the girl from coming any closer by giving her a pat on the shoulder, Yun Xiao announces, "I am not the one saving you, they are." Liu Yitian looks around, finding himself surrounded by the academy's students, led by their dean, Feng Buping, aka the God of Slaughter. Hiding in the bushes nearby, Lan Fei, Du Feng, and Luo Jia wonder what is going on. Suddenly, Feng Buping's loud cry echoes out in the autumn forest. "You animal," as he slaps ever-living crap out of Liu Yitian. Meanwhile, Hun Bai and Chun Jun go around gathering the others to beat up the pervert. While Liu Yitian gets pulverized by the students, Feng Buping checks out on the girl.